Gutamaya are known for two things. The first is being a shipbuilder who builds exclusively for the Empire. The second is that they produce ships that are basically a work of art. For example, look at this, the Imperial Courier. This is peak Gutamaya design, and it looks absolutely gorgeous with its white hull and blue accents and almost unique styling. Then you have the Imperial Eagle, based on one of the better designs by Core Dynamics, where Gutamaya then took their work and dialed the prettiness up to 11. You've also got this, the Imperial Clipper, which, despite a few gaffes in the design, is right up there in the list of good-looking ships. And then you have this ship, this long, girthy thing, built to shoot on the faces of its enemies, as the actress once said to the bishop. This is the Imperial Cutter. It's unmistakably a Gutamaya ship, but it's not the best looking ship in their lineup. Although Gutamaya have clearly tried, even the staircase looks overly ostentatious compared to other ships. But the cockpit is in the wrong place, and it has a bulge in the middle that ruins the profile of the ship. And the rear heat sinks just look like the comb of a cockerel when they emerge from the dorsal hull. Although in a way that kind of makes sense. This is the ship that an Empire-aligned pilot will buy just to show that they are King Dick of the galaxy. It's the sort of ship that you take into a Threat 1 signal source, not because that's all it can handle, but because it's the type of ship you use to crap all over lesser pilots to make a point. This ship will admittedly do well against the best of the best with an evenly matched pilot, but a fair fight isn't the Imperial way. You need to exude wealth, power and ruthlessness over your foe, and this is the ship to do it in. Stamping down on the little man, all while sitting in one of the most decadent cockpits in the galaxy. Not that you need to be a king to buy this ship. Holding the rank of Duke in the Imperial Naval Reserve will suffice, which is fairly easy to rank up to if you know the right places to gain reputation. You do need to remember, aside from a few system permits and access to a few ships, being a Duke, or even a King for that matter, doesn't give you the prestige those titles are deserving of. You get no land, no fame, and you don't even get to purchase the Imperial Majestic Class Interdictor, which would arguably be a true sign of Imperial status and wealth. But unless you count carriers, this is still the most expensive ship in the galaxy, so you can at least show off your wealth. And once you've bought the basic frame, there's still more to pay for. All of the core internals are sized appropriately, and that means if you need to ask how much a new frameshift drive is, the chances are you can't afford it. Which is bittersweet in a way, because due to the massive haulage potential and combat capabilities, the cutter has the potential to earn money at a ridiculous rate, whether you're trading, fighting or mining. And it just goes to prove the adage that you need money to make money. Moving away from looks and status, when compared to the Federal Corvette, it looks like the cutter is missing a huge hardpoint, being equipped with a single underslung huge one as opposed to the Corvette's twin huge hardpoints. As a trade-off though, you do get 2 extra medium and 1 extra large hardpoint, but you don't get any small hardpoints either. That being said though, the cutter isn't designed as an out-and-out combat machine, but more a multi-purpose ship. That and a status symbol for those who fly it, but I said we'd move away from status for a bit. Regardless though, you can do a lot of damage in the cutter. Class 2 hardpoints are a bit wide on convergence, so turrets are an idea for those, but everything else isn't too bad. It's insanely quick in a straight line for its size, but its agility isn't great when flying at the top end or even at a medium speed. Although oddly I found it decent for manually picking up ship debris after a fight at slower speeds. But the placement of the cargo hatch probably has quite a lot to do with that. I'm not saying that after buying this ship I'm too poor to bring a limpet controller for such lowly tasks, but instead I choose to ignore the signs that suggest I should really remember my limpets. After all, I'm a Duke. I won't be told what to do by a mere sign. If they wanted me to buy limpets, they should relay the message via my servants. Speaking of buying things, as I've already mentioned, not only does this ship have the highest price for a ship in the galaxy, but it does also have the largest internal capacity, beating out the Type 9 Heavy, albeit not by much. And while the price difference between these two ships is astronomical, the Cutter can do a better job at defending itself from pirates when shielded thanks to hardpoints, better speed and manoeuvrability. So perhaps the Cutter does make more sense as a trader when you take this into account. It's also a powerhouse of mining for the same reasons. Again, the convergence isn't fantastic on a couple of hardpoints, but you can work around that fairly easily as far as mining goes. You can also carry more passengers than you can in Saud Kruger's flagship liner, the Beluga, and despite not being able to fit luxury cabins, the Cutter does look like it would do well as a luxury yacht for the wealthy to see the stars, although you might have a job getting the Federation-aligned tourists on board. And while the jump range is lower than the Beluga and pales in comparison to the Anaconda, you can still get a respectable range to get your clients from A to B eventually. Speaking about getting from point A to point B, if exploring is more your bag, a stripped down build can give you access to 55 light years per jump, which will get you most places that you want to be. It's a middling range for sure, but it's more than enough to get you to most places in the galaxy, like so many other ships that hover between 50 and 60 light years for range. But with the camera lined up just right, you can get some excellent shots with this ship. It's not the quickest ship to do exobiology in as a side gig to your exploration thanks to its size and the requirement to land a ship before scanning plants, but it'll do. I would love there to be an option for a landable manned shuttle that can be used in ships like this for exobiology and planet-side exploration, but I guess the Pilot Federation will only allow unmanned fighters that are remote controlled at the current time, at least if you're after a ship that you can launch from the Cutter. So that's the Cutter, the crown jewel in the Imperial fleet. Unless you count the Interdictor, but that's a ship that's entirely in a different league. The sort of league that us mortals can look at but not touch. The sort of ship reserved for the true Imperial elite, who earn their wealth through status and birthright or just plain nepotism. Out of all of the large ships, this is one that I've not gelled with as much. I respect it. I respect what other commanders can do with this magnificent slab of metal, composite and glass. But for some reason it's not a ship I yearn to jump back into. And it's nothing personal about the Empire. God no. The Courier is nothing short of fantastic to fly, and the Clipper, despite its flaws, can be a lot of fun. And it's not about the cost either, because with a few billion in the bank, it's not exactly expensive to fly once you've bought it, unless you make a habit of flying into things like planets and space stations. There isn't a lot fundamentally wrong with this ship apart from how badly it can drift at speed, but truth be told, I'd probably get more excited about jumping in my Type 10 Defender. Speaking of which, I think I might take that out for a quick run around the block before picking the subject for the next review. Thanks for watching this video, especially if you made it this far as always. Next review is either going to be the Beluga or the Type 8 at some point in the next few weeks. Until then, take care, much love, and 07. Thank you.